Spurgeon here with RevZilla TV to talk to you about the Two Brothers M2 Vale exhaust system available at RevZilla.com. So the M2 Vale exhaust is going to be a flagship exhaust in Two Brothers lineup. If you're watching this video, chances are you want to drop some weight, you want to gain some power, but most importantly, you want your motorcycle to sound like a motorcycle as opposed to a muted weed whacker. So before we go any further, take a listen to how the M2 exhaust sounds when I installed it on the R6 behind me. Now that's how a motorcycle should sound. It just gets you that gnarly feeling down in the deep guts of your belly. So what you're gonna see is the M2 series on the table. And this is gonna be available for a wide variety of different motorcycles. You wanna make sure that you're using the bike front on our website to get yourself set up with the right exhaust system every time. Now, install for this is gonna vary depending on whether or not you're going with a slip-on system or a full system. For the slip-on systems on our BSD or Beard Scale of Difficulty for installation, you're looking at about a half an hour to an hour in the garage, and it's going to be about a 1 out of 3 on our BSD. Now, when you jump to the full system, it's going to bump from a 1 out of 3 on our BSD up to a 2 out of 3. Plan on about 2 to 3 hours in the garage. Again, simple hand tools. It's just going to be a little bit more time consuming. It's not something you should be afraid of. Anybody can do this. We'll talk more about installation at the end, but for right now, let's jump in and talk about what sets the M2 exhaust apart from some of the other exhaust systems out there on the market. So Two Brothers got their start as a race team, and they soon came to realize they were really good at developing exhaust systems, and that's what they've made their name on, high quality exhaust. The M2 is really their flagship lineup of exhaust right now, and it's going to be available in a couple of different flavors. So the M2 is going to be available in a regular, a silver, and a black series. There is nothing different as far as the performance gains. It's just an aesthetic look. You can see with the regular standard series, it's going to have a nice gold kind of a look to it, and you're going to see a yellow within the label. When you go to the silver series, everything is simply silvered out. That's silver, silver, and then when you have the black, again, all the anodized aluminum parts are going to be done up in black. So that's all you have to keep in mind is what look do you want to go for. Now, within each series, you're going to be able to choose your finish. You can either go with aluminum, you can go with titanium, or you can go with the carbon fiber. And I have, again, all three set out on the table in front of me so you can see exactly what they look like. Aluminum is going to be the heaviest material, but it's also going to be the most durable. Titanium is going to be a nice compromise between the two. It's going to be a little bit lighter weight, but it's also going to be much more durable than the carbon fiber. And the carbon fiber is going to be the lightest out of the three, but it's also the most susceptible to damage. So let's start with the slip-on systems. This slip-on is going to be something that most of you out there are looking for. We've already heard how this thing makes your bike sound. Depending on which material you go with, you're going to drop anywhere from a half a pound up to 10 pounds depending on your motorcycle. On the R6 behind me, it already had a lightweight OEM exhaust on there, so I dropped maybe about a half a pound swapping it over. For those of you out there that are rocking something like a Ninja 300, you can get about 10 pounds off of your bike just by throwing one of these exhausts on there. So that's a huge weight reduction. Now, when we're talking about power increases for this, you're getting, with just a slip-on, about a 2 to 3 horsepower gain. And that might not sound like a lot, but you have to think about that in a percentage ratio. That's anywhere from like 2 to 4%, 2 to 5% increase in power. On the R6 behind me, it was a nice even power gain throughout the entire rev range, and that was about a 2% gain, but it was really not just that peaky power that you see with some exhausts. It gave you a nice even boost throughout. So for those of you out there that want more power, that 2 to 3 horsepower that's just not enough for you, you're going to want to consider going with something like the full system exhaust. Now the full system exhaust is going to give you that 4 to 5 horsepower gain just by throwing that on there without any tuning additionally added to it. The other thing you're going to get with this is you're simply going to drop a mass amount of weight. On the R6 behind me, I dropped 14 pounds putting a full system exhaust on there. That's a pretty significant weight savings. With the power gains you're getting with this, you can see as you take a close look at it, you have nice TIG welds throughout, and you can see the step chambers as they get larger as they move down the exhaust system. And the reason they do that is they give you the bigger chamber as you get closer to the end, because exhaust gases expand to fill the chamber. So what you get is as the exhaust gases expand to fill the chamber moving down towards the end, They speed up, they push the exhaust throughout. You can see the full system here. It's eliminated the catalytic converter. You have nothing blocking it, and you get a really free-flowing exhaust. So again, 4 to 5 horsepower gains without any tuning whatsoever. Now, we're never going to recommend that you put a full system exhaust in your bike without some sort of fuel tuning. Most of these bikes come from the factory super lean to begin with. So if you're putting a full system on there, you're going to want to consider upgrading a fuel controller and possibly going with a high flow air filter. Now, the M2 is going to set itself apart with how the actual exhaust can mount to the bracket. Again, we talked about how it's called the M2 Vale system. And the Vale simply stands for Variable Access Locking Exhaust. And you're going to see this little X-ring in front of me. And this is going to simply lock on the inlet port side. And it's going to actually use 4 bolts to screw into the exhaust can itself. This is going to lock that on there, and it's going to allow you to fine tune it. So once you have this loosely installed, you can rotate your exhaust to match it up exactly where you want it to go, and then you just lock those 4 bolts down. It's really that simple. Again, all the components that you're going to see in here are going to really play a factor into the Two Brothers M2 series. You're going to have that magnesium end cap that they're known for, super lightweight, and again, just an overall nice finish. When we're talking about the install, when we're talking about how to get this mounted on there, again, on our BSD for the slip-ons, you're looking at a 1 out of 3. Depending on your bike, this is going to be a half an hour to an hour job in the garage. The R6 behind me, it was on the harder side. There was a servo motor I had to eliminate, and it took me all of a good hour to get this thing installed. But again, varies on bike. If you're considering going with a full system, that is going to jump you up to a full 2 out of 3 on our BSD, our beard scale difficulty for installation. You're going to have to remove the fairings. You're going to have to replace exhaust gaskets. And like I said, you're probably at this time going to go ahead and want to put a fuel controller in there just to get the most power possible out of your exhaust system. But it's nothing you should be afraid of, and it's really something anyone can do. Two Brothers gives you really detailed instructions on how to do this. They give you a lot of the tools you need to get this done. And I will say this, go to their website and look at the color PDF versions of the instructions. It makes the whole process a lot simpler than using the black and white instructions that come in the box. So I would say if I had to come up with a nitpick for this, it would be the instructions. But again, once you get onto their website, you can see the full color versions, and it really helps the process go a lot smoother. I think Two Brothers did a really nice job with their M2 series, and what I like about it is the fact that it works for a wide variety of different motorcycles out there because it's been around for so long. There's a lot of people out there rocking an M2 exhaust on their bikes. If you want to hear more about what they have to say, do me a favor, click below. Read other riders' opinions about the Two Brothers M2 series they have on their bikes. If you have more questions for us, never hesitate, get us on the phone, give us a call, 877-792-9455, or simply type us out an email, cs@RevZilla.com. Thank you for joining us for this look at the Two Brothers M2 Vale Series exhausts. I'm Spurge. Enjoy the ride.